Hello everyone. In the next couple of minutes, I have to record a session about the .NET 9 Web API CRUD operations using MS SQL database. So I will use the Visual Studio 2022 edition in this video for the development purpose. I will use the .NET 9 SDK, which is the latest version of .NET at the time of recording this video. I will use the code first approach in this video, and I have to perform the complete CRUD operations, and I will then use the MS SQL server for the database. So let's begin. Now I am here in the Visual Studio 2022 environment. Now the first step is to basically create a new Web API project, right? Now go to the file, and here I have to click on new and then on project. And from here I have to search for the ASP.NET Core Web API. Select this template, click on next, and here I have to give a name to the project. So let me give a name, .NET CRUD API, right? So it will be the project name, and let's me save the project inside the downloads folder. Now I have to click on next, and from the drop down I have to select the .NET 9 version, which is the latest one, and then I have to choose none for the authentication. Select this checkbox, select this checkbox, and also you have to check the use controller checkbox. Then click on create. Okay, so the project created successfully. Let me show you the things, what kind of files and folders we have in the .NET 9 Web API project. Now here I have the dependencies folder. Here we have the NuGet packages, and here we have the controllers folder, and inside the controller we have the default weather forecast controller, right? And let's me delete this because there is no need of this controller, so I have to delete this one. Okay, and here I have also the weather forecast class, so I have also to delete this one. And here we have the app setting.json file. So in the app setting.json file we have to define the configuration, like the connection string to the database, like the email configuration and other things, right? And here we have the program.cs class, so it is basically the entry point towards our application. Here we have to register our services and configure the middlewares like in this way, right? Now let's me add NuGet packages in the next step to the applications, right? So to add any NuGet package to the application, right click on the dependencies and then click on the manage NuGet packages, and here browse for the SQL server. So I have to select this one, Microsoft.entityframework core.sql server, and at the time of recording this video the 9.0.3 is the latest version, so I have to install this one. Click on apply and I have to accept. Now the package installed successfully. Let me copy this, and I have to install another package, this one. Select this one, click on install, and I have to click on the apply and then accept. Okay, so this package also installed successfully. Now let's me add another package, this one. Okay, so this package also installed successfully. Let me close this dialog, and I have to Control S, and let me add here a product class. And with this product class, basically I have to create a database table with the name product. So both the database table columns and the properties in the product.cs class should be matched, right? Now let me add here a folder, give a name like models, and in the models folder I have basically to create entities for the database purpose. Click on add. I have to add a class with the name product.cs. Okay, and here let me add some properties like id, product name, price, public string name, and it should be the price. The price will be in decimal, and let me add here the stock. Okay, and it will be integer, right? So our product entity is ready. Now let's me move towards the next step, and in the next step I have basically to add the DB context class. So the DB context class will be basically responsible for communicating with the database. So if you want to read any kind of data from the database, if you want to insert or delete record from the database, then we have to use the DB context class in the entity framework core, right? Now let me add here a folder data, and inside the data folder let me add here a class app.db.context. app.db.context.cs. okay, and let me inherit this class from the DB context class. And now I have to define here a constructor for this class. So the constructor is same with the class name in C#, right? Now let me add here DB context option. Sorry guys, yes, it's DB context option, and I have to pass the same class name, and let me give a name. So the name should be options, and then I have to access the base options, yes, like in this way. Now let me move to the next line, and in the next line I have basically to add a DB set property for our class product. Now for example, I have many tables like customer, like users, like categories, like tags for any e-commerce application. Then we have to define the entities like in this way, and then if in the app.db context class we have to add the DB set properties for all these classes. Now at the moment in this session I have only one entity class, so for this I have to add the DB set property. Okay, so it will be a public property, pass the class name here, and I have to give a name. Yes, let me import the namespace for this. Okay, now for this one let me import the namespace. Sorry, the spelling is I think wrong. It is DB context. Okay, now it's working fine. So our app.db context class is ready. You can see that I have added a property for the products table, right? Now let's me configure the DB context class, this app.db context class in the program.cs class, right? So go to the program.cs. I am already here in the program.cs, and I have to configure here the app.db-context class. So in the builder.services, I have to add app db context. Yes, add db context, and here I have to pass the class name. Okay, and now let me use here an anonymous function. Use SQL server. Use SQL server, and then in the parameter, let's me pass here builder dot services dot get sorry, I have to check in the configuration dot get connection string, and let me pass here the connection string name. Now in this session, basically I will use a connection string to the MS SQL database, and I will give a name like practice connection. Yes, so it will be my connection string name. I will then add a new connection string in the app setting.json file with this name, right, with the practice connection. Okay, now or this part is ready. Okay, so I have also to add the Swagger in this project. So here I have to add like builder.services add Swagger, so that we can test the API in a browser. I am adding the Swagger for this purpose, right? Now let's me import the namespace. No, Swagger is not installed in the project by default, so for this I have basically to add a package for the Swagger implementation, right? So let's me again go to the dependencies, manage NuGet package, and here I have to search for a NuGet package. I think this one. Okay, now let's me install the latest version in the project. Okay, so the package for the Swagger UI is added successfully. Let's me go again to the program.cs class, and you can see that the error has now gone. Okay, on this add Swagger generation. Now also I have to add here let's me add here, sorry, a middleware for the Swagger in the pipeline. So I have to use Swagger like in this way. So let's me also add Swagger UI. So these one and these two in the pipeline are basically for configuring the Swagger in your API project. Now later we will see how we can use the Swagger for testing the APIs in a web browser like Google Chrome, Edge, and any other browser. Okay, so it was basically the Swagger implementation. Now guys, here you can see that I have added a connection string with the name practice connection, and now I have to basically add this connection string in the app setting.json. Okay, now I have already defined the connection string, so let's me pass here the connection string. I think I have to first add here a property with the name connection string. So let's connection string. Okay, and then I have to give a connection string with this name. Let's me go to the program.cs, copy this one, go to app setting again, give the same name, and here I have to give the connection string. Okay, so I have already write the connection string for so that we have no issue in the connection string, like the SQL server name, like the database name. and the other things. Okay, now here I will use the database with the name practice db_2. So let's me copy the db name, and I have to create a database with the same name. New database. I am using the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio and click on OK. Now you can see the database added successfully, and here in the tables I can see that there is no table at the moment, right? Now let's me again go to the Visual Studio, and here we have successfully added the connection string. Now let's me move towards the next step, the migration step. Guys, you can see that I have created here a class with the name product with some properties. Now I have to create a database table with the same properties in MS SQL database, right? So for this I have to use the code first approach, and to use the code first approach there are some commands to create the database entities from the C# classes, right? Now I have to go to the package managers console, and here let's me add here a command .NET EF migrations add, and here gave a name to the migration, so it will be initial create, press enter. No project was found, change the current word directory to use this project. Okay, so let's me try another way, add migration, let's me try add migration, and let's me give a name to the migration, initial create. So let's we check whether the command runs successfully or giving some kind of error. Once the migration runs successfully, then we will see that a migration folder will be added here inside the project, right? Now the project build is started. It will take a little time. Build succeeded. Okay. Okay guys, so you can see that the migration folder is added successfully, and inside the migration folder we have a class with some kind of this name, and here all the properties are defined. If I go to this is an automatic code, automatic generated code, so you have to do nothing with this code. You have not to change any kind of things in this code, right? Now close this one and go to the SQL. Here let's me refresh. You can see that the table is still not created. So for this I have to run one final command, the update database. So to run this command, let's me type here update database. Okay, now let's me go again to the database to check whether the table created successfully or not. Now you can see that guys, we have successfully created the products table, and it is the basically migration history table, so there is no work to handle with this table. It is our main table. Now let's me write here a query on this table. And here you can see that at the moment we have no data in the table, right? Now let's we move towards the next step to add an API controller inside the controllers folder, right? So it is the important step to add a controller, an API controller in any web API project, so that we can add different action methods, and for the delete operation, for the insert, and for getting all the records and searching the record by ID. So let's me add here a controller first. Click on add, click on controller, and here you have to select the API option and select this empty controller and click on add. Now here I have to give a name to the controller. So let's me give a name like products. So the controller is added successfully. Now first of all I will inject the app.db context class inside the constructor of this controller in the products controller. So let's me define here a private read-only property for the app.db context underscore context, and now let's me define here a constructor for this public controller class. Now it is the constructor, and inside the constructor I have to pass the app.db context, and let me give a name like context, and I have to assign this context to this private read-only variable, right? Context like in this way. Now I successfully inject the app.db context inside our products controller class. Now I have basically to define the get products and get product by ID, and how we can create the other endpoint. Okay, so first of all let's me define here http get, yes, and here let's me add an action result public async task, and here I have to use the action result abstract class, and from this action method I have to return a list of the record. So that is why I will use the I enumerable. Okay, and inside the generic I have to pass the product, the model name, this one. Okay, this one. And now let's me give a name to this action method. So get products, and let's me use the variable products is equal to, and I have to use the await keyword because I am using async programming, and inside the context, as I already explained, that this is the class for communicating, for creating a session with the database. So I already inject here the context. Now I have to use this one, and inside the context we have the products, this one, this property, and then let's me use the method tool assessing. Now it will read basically the complete products list from the database, and let's me return these products list. If you don't want to use like in this complex way, just remove this code, and I have to return like in this way, so that we can keep the thing simple. Okay, now let's me move towards the next function. It will be get all products, and the next API will be for get product by ID. So for this, let's me copy this one, and I have only to change the name of the API, get product, and let's me define here an HTTP get, and I will pass the ID. So HTTP get, let's me pass the ID like in this way inside the curly braces, and I have to also get the ID here in the param ID. So it will be the product ID, and with this product ID basically I have to search the product, right? Remove this code. Now first of all, variable product is equal to await underscore context dot products dot find async Yes, and inside the find async I have only to pass the ID that I will get in as a param in this function. Okay, now it will give me the selected product, so return okay product. Now this API is ready. Now let's move towards the next API. In the next API, basically I have to create a new product. Create new product API. Now let's me copy again this code, paste here. Sorry, let's me copy this one also, and it will be the HTTP post because we are creating new record. So I will use the HTTP post attribute, and let's me change the name like create product. I want to create a product with all these property. Therefore, I will pass the complete products model here as a parameter to the create product action result. Now let's me give here a name as product to this parameter. Remove this code. Okay. Now let's me use context dot products dot add product. Okay, and then I have to only change to save the changes. Okay, so this line will basically add the product, and once the product is added successfully, then I have to return here a message product created successfully. Okay, if you want to return some other kind of message, if you get any kind of error, then just enclose this block of code in a try catch block, and in the catch block then you can return bad request and any kind of other error. Okay, now for the time I will keep the thing simple. I don't want to make the code more complex, so that is why it is our simple API for creating a new product. Okay, now let's we move towards the next API, and the next API will be basically to update any product. Okay, now let's me copy this code, paste here, remove this code, and let's me change the API name, the API function name, update product, and here I have to use the HTTP put method, HTTP put attribute, and inside the param I have to pass the ID like in this way, and here let me pass here the int ID and then the product that we want to update. And now I have to use like if the ID in this object is not equal to this ID, then I have to return bad request. So if ID is not equal to the ID inside the product, then I have to return here the bad request. Okay, now if ID is equal, then I have to update the product. So let's me use the context class entity and then entry, and inside the entry I have to pass the product, this one, and let's me access the state, and I have to assign a new value like modified. Okay, so let me set the state as modified, and then I have to call the save changes async, and finally let's me return okay. And here I have to return a message to the user of the API like product updated successfully. Okay, like in this way. You can also return the complete product. You can also return any kind of other data from the API. At the moment I will return only a success message is the product updated successfully. Okay, now let's move towards the final API, and this API will be basically for deleting the record, delete product API. Okay, and here let's me copy again this code, and let's me remove all this code again. Now I want to use the HTTP delete action filter, right? And then I have to change the name of this function. It will be delete product, and let's me pass here the ID of the product, and I will delete the product with the ID that I get here as a parameter, right? Now let's me first get the product from the database. So to get the product from the database with this ID, use the context, then products, then find async, and inside the find async I have to pass only the ID of the product. Okay. Now if product is not null, then if product is null, sorry guys, if product is null, then I have to return should I return bed requests are not found? I think I should return not found if the product is not found in the database, because someone can pass the invalid product ID. So in this case, the product will not be exist inside the database. The product will be null. So if product is null, then I have to return the user not found. Okay. If the product is exists in the database, then I have to delete the product. So to delete the product from the database, you have to use the remove function, and inside the remove you have to pass the product that I just get here from the database. Okay. Now I want to delete these product. Now after this operation, you know that we have to always perform the context dot changes async. It will persist the changes in the database, right? And then return OK, and here pass a message like product deleted successfully. Okay. Now these four let's me collapse. Now these five are basically the APIs that can get all the records from the data, can get a product by specific ID. This API will be used to create a new product from scratch, and this API basically will be used to update some features in the product, and this API will be basically used to delete any record. Okay. Now let's me rebuild the project. Sorry. Once it's rebuilt successfully, then the final step is to test all these endpoints, whether it's working or getting some kind of error in the code. For the first step, it will take a little time to rebuild the code. Now it's rebuilt successfully. Close this dialog. Now I have to run the project. Now the project runs successfully, and here you can see that I have a dialog that showing me that it's listening to the port 7228. Okay. Now let's me open this port in the browser. Localhost 722 I think, let's me check again, 7228. Let's me add access the Swagger, and the Swagger URL is basically like in this way. It's not working. The URL is https localhost 7228 index.html. Let's me copy this one again, paste here. It's http, so let's me make is https. Press enter. Guys, our project's running successfully. Now I have all these 5 endpoints. It's for getting all the products, it's for updating, for creating a new product. This endpoint is basically for getting a product by ID. It's one for updating a product, and the final endpoint is for deleting any product, right? Now let's me move towards the first one. Click on try it out, and here I I get a message like there is no record found in the products. You can see I have no record inside the table at the moment. Okay, now let's me close this dialog, and here I have to create a new product. Click on try it out, and let's me pass here the product name is like laptop, and the price, let's suppose 300, and stock for example 10. The ID will be generated automatically. Click on execute, and you can see that I have get the response product created successfully. Now let's me go to the database, and here you can see that one product is created successfully, right? Now let's me add one another product, laptop 2. Its price should be 500 and the stock quantity should be 20. Now let's me execute. Product created successfully. Again check in the database, the second product also created successfully. Now I have to close this one. Let's me again go to the first API and get all the records. Now here I get all the 2 records from the API successfully. Okay, so or these 2 API working perfectly. Now let's me get any product by ID, right? Try it out and pass here the ID 2. I want to get this product with the ID 2. Now let's me pass here the ID and execute. You can see that I get the same product, that here we have this one, laptop 2, price 500 and stock quantity 20. You can see the same data in the API response. Okay, now or this API also working perfectly. Let's me go to this API, try it out, and I have to update the product too. So let's me set its name like laptop 3. Let's me set the price 1000 and stock quantity 50. Currently we have this record. Now I am updating this record. Click on execute. I get a message, response rate is 400. I think I get some kind of error. No, there is no error. I get okay. So let's me check whether it's updated or not. It's not updated. I think I get an error, right? So let's me also pass here the ID in the request body. I pass here 2, and I have also to pass here ID 2, right? Sorry, I was making a mistake. Now let's me execute again the code. I get the message product updated successfully. Now let's me check whether it's updated. Okay, you can see it's become laptop 3, the price and stock also updated. Okay, now let's me go to the final API. I have to delete the product with the ID 1. Let's me pass here only the ID, execute, product deleted successfully. Now this product should be deleted. Let's me check. You can see that the product with the ID 1 deleted. So guys, we created successfully all the endpoints in this .NET 9 Web API project. When we can use this API in any other applications like React.js application, we can consume this API in Angular applications. We can also use this API in the mobile application and in any other platform. Thanks for watching the video.